What's up guys, and today I'm going to show you a deck you can use for the Dimensional Disaster, and I'm also going to give you guys some tips and some advice on some stuff you can do for this event. So first of all, I'm going to show you guys a deck, and a lot of these cards in this deck can be substituted. Not all of them, but a lot of them can be substituted. So I will show recommendations for other variations of cards you can use if you don't have the exact one I have. You don't have to have the exact one I have. There could be other versions that do way better than the one I have. I'm just going to show you the version I have and some good recommendations. So first of all, the main key pieces I'm going to show you of this deck is you need Palladium, you need Blue Eyes White Dragon, you need DNA Surgery, and you need Dragon's Rage. Now Palladium is the best Dark Magician card there is. This is the reason why I recommend it. Out of all the Dark Magician cards, he deals the most damage on a consistent basis, and the key word is consistent, because there are other Dark Magician cards that can deal more damage to him, but it's very inconsistent and it's very rare to pull off. He can deal it on a very consistent basis. Plus, he has an effect to where if he battles a dark monster, its attack is doubled during the damage step. That means he could get up to 5,000 attack just off his original attack. Let's say you have a Power of Guardians or a Claw Hermos attached to it or something. He could get really high, even possibly to like 10,000 if you know what you're doing right. So he's a really good Dark Magician card. And plus, if you draw him in any of your draw phases, you can normal summon him after you draw him. And it won't take up your first normal summon. It'll just be a normal summon on its own. So then you can normal summon again right afterwards. He's just a great card. He's probably the hardest one to get out of all the cards I have in this deck. But if you have at least one copy, put him in there. Now, there are some substitutes for him, even though he's a main key piece of my deck. You can use Dark Magician as a substitute. Dark Magician is probably one of the easier cards in the game to get because he's attached to like 2 or 3 versions of Yugi, and plus you can get him through like unlock missions, SR tickets, and all that stuff like that. Plus you can get him through Legendary Duelists, so he's probably one of the easier ones. If you have 2 or 3 copies, put him as a substitute for Palladium. Now, the reason why I have 1 Dark Magician and 3 Palladiums is occasionally when I'm fighting the CPU in the event, he will destroy Palladium because he'll take out one of his cubic monsters, and one of them is like flip face up and return to the hand, or one is flip face up and destroy a card on the field. And when it destroys my Palladium, I can special summon a Dark Magician. Now it only happens once. That's the reason why I only put 1 Dark Magician. So you only need 1 Dark Magician if you're gonna play 3 Palladiums. Now, the amount of Dark Magicians in your deck are based on the amount of Palladiums you have. You have 1 Palladium, put 2 Dark Magicians or 3 Dark Magicians. You have 2 Palladiums, put 2 Dark Magicians or 1 Dark Magician. You have 3, put 1 or none. Just substitute for another card. Now, next, you're going to need Blue Eyes White Dragon. Blue Eyes White Dragon is probably the biggest, most important card in this deck alone. I don't recommend you substituting him for anything else. I do think you need 3 copies, at least 3 copies of just any Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, if you have Spirit of the White, if you have Blue Eyes Solid Dragon, doesn't matter. You need at least 3 to at least pull off a consistent basis. You don't want to do too much randomness because you're trying to inflict as much damage as you can. I would recommend at least 3 normal vanilla level 8 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Probably extremely easy themselves to get. Then you have the Dragon Spirit of the White, Blue Eyes Solid Dragon, at least 1. Now, Solid Dragon, you can substitute him pretty well because you honestly don't need him. I've thought about even taking him out. He's useful occasionally, but if you have 2 Spirit of the Whites, you could easily just replace him with a Spirit of the White. So you don't even need him. If you don't have him, don't worry about it. Now, if it's vice versa, you don't have a Spirit of the White, substitute it for 2 Solid Dragons. It's okay. But at least 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons all together in this deck. That's great. That's what you can substitute those for. Now, as far as spell and trap cards, the recommendations I have are a double summon. You need double summon. Double summon is really, really good. I only have 1 copy of it. If you have more than 1 copy, that's even better. I wish I had more than 1 copy. But basically, you can summon twice, once per turn. That's really, really good. So imagine if there was a turn where not only did you draw, let's say it was your first turn. Let's say you drew into Palladium. Not only can you normal summon him, you can use your normal summon and then summon Blue Eyes, let's say. Then if you had double summon in another monster hand, you could summon another Blue Eyes or another Palladium. You can summon 3 monsters in 1 turn just by having a double summon or by having a Palladium. It's very, very, very versatile and I love it. So at least 1 double summon. Build spell cards, I have a Sorcerer's Spell Wall, and the reason why is just it's a small attack boost. Any attack boost you can get during this event is extremely helpful because this event is all about getting really high attack. I'm just going to give you guys a heads up, like the guy you're fighting in this cubic event, like his life points are huge. It's almost like the Tyranno event with the dinosaurs. Like this guy life points are at like 150,000, 200,000. So you really need to inflict as much attack as you can. Oop, my fault. Clicked on the claw hermos by accident. But yeah, you really do need to inflict as much attack as you can. And so putting 2 sorcerer spell walls you can. Now there is another substitute for sorcerer spell wall if you don't, and I'll show them on the screen. And you know, of course, off the top of my head, something like Power of Guardians, or if you have Mage Power, you could use those too. I just don't recommend using continuous spells or equip, because the DNA Surgery and Dragon's Rage, which I'm going to get into a little later, is the reasons why I don't have those. Because you guys know Power Guardians is one of my favorite cards, and I put that in a lot of decks I have, but I'm not even going to put that in this deck, even though it would be super useful in this event, just because of the DNA Surgery and Dragon Rage. Next, I have Claw Hermos. Claw Hermos, really good. He's my substitute for Power of the Guardians and Mage's Power, and the reason why is because he's not equipped. He's just summon an extra deck monster and then equip the extra deck monster to one of your main monsters. Like, basically what it does is when you have Claw Hermos and you have 1 dragon monster on the field or in your hand, you can special summon this, and not only will then this card will equip to one of the monsters up here, and he'll gain 1,000 attack plus 500 for each dragon type monster on the field and graveyard. You could get to some really high attack by doing this, because even the cubic monsters have some dragon monsters in their deck. So, and you have some in yours, so you can get to some really high attack. I've got Palladium to like 5,000 before, or 5,500, and so then when he attacks, he's doing like 30, 40, 50,000 damage. So you can get to some pretty high attacks, and to me it's just a lot more consistent than Power of the Guardians and Mage's Power, because they're based off your spell and trap cards, and then Power of the Guardians is based off how many turns you're playing. You only attack once per turn, so it's a very, very slow attack boost. It's not reliable, and you only have 5 turns in this event. You can't rely on getting to 5,000 attack in 5 turns. That's just relying on even if you draw Power of the Guardians on your first turn, which most likely you won't. So you need something more consistent, and Claw Hermos can do what Power of the Guardians can times 10. Next, you're going to need Cup of Ace. Any draw card, I'll put some, of course, recommendations on the screen for, draw cards you can get instead. But yeah, any draw cards. Cup of Ace to me is pretty good. It's a 50-50, but it's just quick. I don't want anything sitting on the field, any trap draw cards. To me, this is just probably the best one you can use, even though it's that 50-50 chance, which is a huge downside, but still, it's not like sitting on my field. It's something quick I can use. And if I win and get good luck, I get 2 cards. So it's almost like you're playing a 16 card deck, to be honest with you. If you get heads on both, you're almost like playing a 16 card deck, which is really good because it makes it even more consistent. Now, DNA Surgery is another huge key piece, and Dragon's Rage, and I'm really going to explain why you need these 2. Now, a lot of the times when you summon these cards, which, by the way, if I haven't said before, this event allows you to summon high-level monsters without tribute. So if you're confused why I have no low-level monsters, it's because this event allows you to summon all high-level monsters with no tribute. Plus, Blue Eyes and Dark Magician do 3 times as much damage. That's the reason why I was saying you can get them like 20, 30, 40,000 attack. Because if they're like attacking with like 5,000 attack, that would do 15,000 damage. They're doing their attack stats times 3. So that's super important to keep in mind. DNA Surgery and Dragon Rage are super important. So what you're going to do is a lot of times the opponent will place his monsters in defense position. So what you have to do is attack into them. And if you have 3 monsters on the field, a lot of times that's cheating you out from 1 attack, because you're wasting one of your attacks getting rid of his monsters when you need to use all 3 at his life points. Now, there's like 2 alternatives to this, or 3 alternatives. You could have cards that destroy his monsters, like spell cards that get rid of them, so you won't have to waste your attack. You could have cards that allow you to attack directly, or you can have cards that allow you to inflict piercing damage. I'd rather go with piercing damage. The other 2 takes a lot more setup, and a lot more cards that add that setup. You don't have time in this event. You don't have as many turns as you can until you deck out. No, you only have 5 turns. You have to use them resourcefully. These are a lot more consistent. DNA Surgery, what you're going to do is you're going to set it to Dragon type. And the benefit too is you're going to want to put this on auto duel a lot of the times. I was playing this manually for like the first day, second day, and it was tiring. You'll sit up here 6-8 hours and probably get like 1/4 of the event done. So a lot of times you want to put this on auto duel. You don't want to sit here constantly playing it manually. And it's good because the CPU will always pick Dragon, which is what you need to pick. So with DNA Surgery, pick Dragon. Then when you have Dragon's Rage, flip that face up. What this does is when a dragon type monster you have attacks into one of your opponent's defense position monsters, they inflict piercing damage. That's basically what that effect means. and all your monsters are higher attack than their defense. So every single one of your monsters will be turned to dragon type. And this is the reason why you're carrying DNA Surgery. And it's because of the Dark Magician and the Paladin. They're not dragons. You need to convert them to dragons so then every monster you have inflicts piercing damage. If you don't, and you want more consistency, I guess you could take that out. It's just that you're only going to have to put dragon type monsters. But if you want a little bit more consistency, you add the Paladin, add the DNA Surgery, and then you can make every single one dragon type. And then now all your monsters will inflict piercing damage. Now the good thing about this is, let's say you don't draw into a Dark Magician during that battle, and then maybe you draw into the next battle. The battle you don't draw into him, and you draw into like a Dragon's Rage, you can still use Blue Eyes and then inflict piercing damage without having to have DNA Surgery. So that's the huge benefit of it. And the last card, Lineage of Destruction. Now this was a random card I threw in on the first day when I made this deck. I just randomly saw it and I was like, you know what, this would fit. And it's actually really good. Like basically what you do is, let's say you had a Paladin, for example, and then a Blue Eyes on the field. You attack with the Paladin or Blue Eyes and destroy the monster. You can activate this card. It will give Blue Eyes an extra attack that turn, so he can attack twice. This card is mainly meant for if you have Blue Eyes, because what it will do, any of the Blue Eyes will work. But basically, if you destroy any defense position monster, which you will, trust me, 100%, he will always put his monsters in defense position if your monsters are better. Then you can activate this card, and then Blue Eyes can attack twice that turn. Any Blue Eyes, except the fusion monster ones, because all the Blue Eyes are level 8. But use that to your advantage. You get an extra attack. Any extra attack boost helps. If you want to substitute that for like Power to Guardians or something, be my guest. But I recommend you having as little as continuous and equipped spells as possible, because you're already going to be using Dragon's Rage and DNA Surgery. So you only have space for one more, which is probably Claw Hermers. I just don't recommend using equipped spells. As far as extra deck monsters, just throw in like, it doesn't matter. You can use Five-Headed Dragon, Quinlan Magician, Red Eyes, Black Dragon Sword. You absolutely need this because this is how you activate Claw Hermos. So you have to have this if you use Claw Hermos. If you don't, you can't use it. Now these, I don't even know why I have this in here, so I would take that out. That's for Warrior type. But these are the extra deck monsters you can use. As far as skills, you can use Ultimate Dragons. It's a great skill to have. Basically what it does is if you have 2 or more Blue Eyes cards in your hand or whatever, you can reveal them, and then it'll add all these monsters in your extra deck. Boom. And you get a polymerization. So sometimes you'll bring out a huge beat stick Blue Eyes, and it's super useful because you can do tons of damage. So that's a great skill to use. Now as far as characters, I recommend using Kaiba. Any version of Kaiba's is optimal because Kaiba specializes in Blue Eyes. I recommend Kaiba more than Yama Yugi during this event. Just me personally. Any of the Kaibas. I use Dark Side of Dimension Kaiba, so this is where you get this effect from. I highly recommend him, but any of the Kaibas is fine because a lot of their effects revolve around Blue Eyes. So Kaiba is 100%, has my thumbs up. Use him during this event. Great alternative. So let me go ahead, get into a match and show you guys how this deck works. Okay, so it's my turn. Draw phase. Sorcerer's Wall, not the best hand, but we can work with what we got. So we're gonna put a Sorcerer's Wall down. If he takes out one of his Keto cards and then destroys it, then it's alright. We got a second one because he did do that before to me a couple times. So we'll put down Dragon's Rage in case I draw Blue Eyes, and then we'll put a Paladin down. Alright, boom. Flip up your Dragon's Rage. Alright, great. Now we have Blue Eyes on the field. So we don't need DNA Surgery, but it will help out more because Paladin could attack into this monster. If he attacked into it, it'd be even better because him double would be like 5600 attack, which would be amazing. Blue Eyes, it's okay, but we'll just see if we draw into a DNA Surgery. Hopefully next turn we do that. So we're gonna tackle Blue Eyes. Okay, he has one of those. If he does that, doesn't matter. It's not gonna destroy any of your cards. He'll just take away your monster. So what we're gonna do to negate it, because we don't want him drawing any more cards than he can, we're gonna show a spell card. That is the benefit of having 2 spell cards in your hand, in case that happens, by the way. Boom, attack with the Paladin. Boom. All right, good. So one thing, guys, I do want to say is during your first duel, do not worry about killing them. Just worry about getting them to 100,000. Then your next duel, worry about getting them to like 40,000 to 20,000. Then your third duel, kill them off. But they're going to start out with really high life points, but you're going to be able to fight these people multiple times. You don't have to get to like 200,000 life points and take them all out in your first duel. Just do that after a couple duels. I do recommend by the third duel you have it done though. Alright, so perfect. We drew a DNA Surgery just like I said we would. We're going to put down Dark Magician. And then we're just going to attack. And then on his next turn, we're going to flip up a DNA Surgery. Hopefully he puts a defense position monster and he doesn't have any destroy by card effect type things, and then we'll be good. Boom. Flip up DNA surgery. Set the dragon. Alright, I wish we would do blue eyes. That'd be better. But it's alright. We got DNA surgery. We don't have to worry about blue eyes right now. Boom. Tackle Dark Magician. Tackle Paladin. Boom. We're almost at it. We almost got him at 100,000. If we can get him to 100,000 next turn, we're straight. Alright, Cup of Ace. This is great. But it is 50-50. So if I mess this up, he'll draw 2 cards. If I don't, I'll draw 2. And most likely, one of them will be blue eyes. So let's just hope I draw 2. So we'll flip this up. Boom. Okay, he draws 2. Well, our luck was bad on that one. But we're going to take him at least close to 100,000 this turn. I'm going to flip up, destroy Paladin. Then I'm going to tackle Dark Magician. Boom, we got him under 100,000. That's all we need to do, because then it'll be a lot easier during your second and third duel to get rid of him and take him to 0 life points. Alright, so I showed you how the deck worked, guys. Now I'm going to show you a couple more things like tips and advice. So first thing you want to do a bunch of assist duels. That's where you're going to get a lot of your points from. And do whatever this thing tells you to, or our mouse cursor's over. Like, for example, it tells you duel 1 more time against the keeping monsters to play Dimension Duel EX. All that means is do 1 more assist duel. That's all that means. And then you can summon a Dimension Duel EX, which will show sometime right here. Those are the best. They give you the most points because you can get your monsters to ridiculously high attacks in the Dimension Duel EX. Like, I've got my monsters to do like 60,000-70,000 attack in 1 turn. So you can get some ridiculously high attacks. So definitely go for the Dimension Duel EX. As far as treasure box, I've gotten every card, at least 3 copies of every card. You do this duel long enough and you'll max out with Kaibo, trust me, and you'll get all the rewards. And as far as cumulative rewards, I finished the entire event. I got all the rewards. Took me like 3 days, maybe 2 days, 2.5 days, something like that. I'm not gonna lie, this event is kind of time consuming. Like, you're probably gonna have to spend at least 6 to 8 hours, maybe a day for a couple days just to get through it reasonably. But I do recommend putting on auto duel. If I probably would have did that early on, it probably would have been a lot faster. But do a lot of auto dueling. You won't have to manually do it unless you see the CPU mess up. Just do a lot of auto dueling. And that's pretty much it for today, guys. I mean, I covered everything. If you guys want me to see to take out the deck again, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to upload another video where I try it out again and you can see how it works. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next video.